Double Bind by Seb Kirby. Part 1. Chapter 1. The guy with the bad attitude has been following me all week. My agent, Jerry, keeps telling me I have to get used to stuff like that, now that my writing has broken and I'm the next big thing in the literary world. But I don't buy that. Just my luck that the bad attitude guy is also a writer. And, the last thing you'd expect from a guy who's trying to be a literary type, he has a bunch of heavy friends. Worse than that, he's saying that he's me. You don't believe me? It's just my paranoia at being exposed to all this sudden media interest. Well, I can prove it to you. Read on. I'm sitting in this bookstore on Oxford Street signing books. There's a queue of about 20 or so waiting for a signature, and I'm getting the feeling of being watched. Okay, there are people there all looking at me who have come to the signing, and I know what you're going to say. You don't like people looking at you, why set out to be a well-known writer? And I say, no, being watched. The feeling that someone, somewhere is looking you over out of sight. The kind of thing you just feel. And sure enough, when the signing's over and I'm in the bookstore washroom cleaning my hands, there he is. I see him in the mirror first, coming up on me from behind. There's no one else about. He's picked his moment. It's just him and me. I turn to face him, hands dripping. Our eyes meet and he stands there open-mouthed in front of me. He's staring at me, eyes wide like he's just seen the most frightening thing in his life. I don't know what you're into, but I can't cope with the way you look. He's there, right in my face. I try to keep calm. What's with the way I look? I saw you first on TV in the interview show and I couldn't believe it. You look just like me. Not similar, exactly like me. The same style, the same clothes, the same way of talking. You can see why I say he has an attitude problem. So, you want to be like me? No. I'm saying that you are me. That in some whacked out and screwed up way you are another me. Okay, buddy, what's your name? He doesn't want to answer. But when I start to smile, he does. Mark Bellamy. And I'm Raymond Bridges. I hold out my hand and he shoots back 3 paces. Raymond Bridges. That's my pen name. You didn't have to steal that as well. I can see where this is going and start to move towards the door. He grabs my shoulder and I spring back to face him. His eyes are a world of fear. I know what you are. There's a name for you. I found it out. A doppelgänger. You're my doppelgänger, that's what you are. I know then that he's mad, that something is happening in his life to make this so much of a trauma for him. I'm telling you here and now, Bridges, whoever you are or whatever you are, that I'm going to do you. Not here, nowhere as public as this. Somewhere very soon in a place of my choosing when you think it's safe. And I'm going to do you dead. I can tell right there and then that he's never going to make it as a writer. But the threat is real. I shake him off, make towards the door and leave him standing there. Outside, I say nothing to Jerry. I don't think he's going to understand. Chapter 2. Okay, I won't lie to you. I have to admit that we do look the same, speak the same, dress the same and probably, when we get down to it, think the same. But now is not the time to get into all that. I check up on Mark Bellamy. The details are not hard to find. His father is Stan Bellamy, one of the heaviest criminals in the East End of London. Dies in an accident. Just 5 weeks ago. He has a lot of friends and I'm betting that Mark can call on any number of them. I can tell what you're thinking. What are the chances that an aspiring writer like Mark Bellamy would have a father like that? But he does. And that's just my bad luck. Yeah, I know. You could call it sloppy. I should have known he would find me. I should have changed my appearance. But where I come from, you don't do that. Why shouldn't I look the way I do, speak the way I do? Why should I let him threaten me out of this life where I have so much going for me? Because he's got heavy acquaintances to throw at me? No, I like this life more than that, and there's an end to it. What I have to tell you is, in addition to the writing career and the media interest that comes with it, I'm lucky enough to be hooked up to the most beautiful woman on the planet. Victoria Bletchley. I met her at the literary lunch organized by Jerry to launch my book. The London literati turned out, and right there in the middle of them all was Victoria. A head-turner bar none, long legs, auburn hair, green eyes, knock-you-down smile. You don't believe how good it is? Don't take my word for it. This is how we are together. We're lying in bed on a Sunday afternoon in the penthouse apartment of the Hamilton Hotel with the view over the Thames. The tide is running strong and they are getting ready for the Queen's pageant. Half of London is lined up on the embankment waiting to catch sight of the boats as they go past. From up high from our bedroom window the crowd is silent, insignificant. Victoria is reading Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. Seems like when we're not rutting, she's reading. I guess that comes with the territory if you're a professor of English. She's reading aloud. I resist anything better than my own diversity. Breathe the air and leave plenty after me. And then she's saying, I've always liked those lines. I smile. From Song of Myself. I guess it's all part of his sharing ethos. You might cringe. But that's the way you talk to an English professor. Makes him seem like the first hippie. Which he was. Oh, and a great poet. She rolls over and I catch sight of her perfect breasts. She smiles. I'm working on precursors to the biblical nature of Eliot's imagery for the seminar next week. And I am working on something quite different. I look down. You're not ready again? I'm afraid so. You'd have made a good hippie. All that free love. I look at her body and can't believe how much I love this woman. For the second time that morning, we rut like wild animals, as I think you sometimes say. Later, we stand naked at the window and watch as the boats struggle with the wild flow of the Thames and the pageant passes below us. So, you see, there's poetry in my life. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, she likes my writing. Why would I want to give all of this up for the sake of a screwball who thinks he's me? You're right. I don't want to give any of this up. Which means I have to find some way of dealing with Mark Bellamy.